Jill said that a ruler wouldn't do you much good today, so we got the yardstick, and we're going to just do a quick sample, putting that all the way down there. Almost the entire thing covered up, and if you throw into a snowdrift, you're going to lose it. So, on average, we're going to say around 28 inches fell in Schenectady. And right now, it's not like I'm standing in a field or anything. I'm standing in the middle of 5th Street. This is going to be why it's so crucial to stay off the roads, because some of the side streets look like this. They don't look like streets. Now, while most of us are no longer seeing the snow fall, it is still coming down south and east of Albany. In the southern Taconics, southern Berkshires, and then down into the Litchfield Hills, we've still got a little bit of activity there. Of course, it's March. We're well acquainted with what this month and this season can do. We get the warm-ups, we get the cold snaps, and now we're just back to reality. At least it looks nice out there. We've still got a winter weather advisory for everywhere in purple. The entire News 10 area in effect until 7 a.m. on account of that melting snow, and in the hills and mountains, the ice. Look at where the wind's coming from, straight out of the northwest. So we're pumping all of that cold air straight into the capital region. We think most spots below 1,000 feet are going to see mostly rain. That being said, you could see occasional periods of snow mixing down. Above 1,000 feet, mostly snow. Taller vehicles, higher profile vehicles, tractor trailers, box trucks, RVs can easily get blown around by some of the wind speeds we're seeing out there this afternoon. Let's talk about where we are at this moment. We're at the North Creek Railway Depot Museum, which is a cool spot. Of course, you got the caboose behind me. There's also a lot of history here. It's where Theodore Roosevelt found out he would become president. He ultimately got on the train here, went down to Albany, then to Buffalo, where he was sworn in. Hey there, folks, and welcome into the Weather Center on what could be at times a bumpy afternoon and evening. This is a view sent to us about a half hour ago from Thatcher Park. Gorgeous spot that overlooks Albany. You see the ominous clouds beginning to roll on in. Well, it started to sprinkle in Albany. In Schenectady, just west of the capital, it's coming down a little bit steadier. Roads getting a little slick out there, so if you're headed anywhere over the next several hours, make sure you're taking it slow. Here's the radar and satellite, and you can see a big system pushing on through. It's a cold front that will bring us bands of steady rain, perhaps even an isolated thunderstorm. And as the rain pushes on through, and even once it gets past us well into the evening, it could get pretty gusty and pretty blustery at some times. On the radar, you can see that first band of rain is now pushing across the area. If you're Albany or Northwest, you're getting in on the wet weather action. Notice Schoharie County, up into Schenectady County, that band of yellow indicating a pulse of steadier rain moving east. If you're in Half Moon, Cohoes, or Troy, expect it to pick up within the next half hour or so. So far, the heaviest rain I got from Queensbury to Salem, and that'll be moving east into Bennington and Rutland counties. So far, no thunder or lightning, but again, we can't rule out a little bit of it as we go further into the afternoon. Here's Futurecast. So we've switched into forecast mode. Note that timestamp. By 1 p.m., we expect that first band of steady rain to be pushing east of the capital, down into the mid-Hudson and the Berkshires. Now, by 3 or 4, there could be a secondary line of rain, and this is where we could have some of the stronger rain and the isolated rumbles of thunder. We expect it to be across Schoharie, Albany, Schenectady, Saratoga counties, and into southern Vermont by 3:30. By 4 or 5, expect it to push on down into the Taconics and to the Berkshires. Again, that heavy rain could make for some momentarily dicey driving conditions. As we go into the evening, no more steady rain, at the very most a couple sprinkles up north, but it'll be windy all night. I think that's the greatest concern with this system. Tornado threat, hail threat is low. Again, isolated spots could see some pooling of water on the roads, but the wind is my biggest concern as we go further into the evening. Right now, the wind gusts are picking up in northern and western New York. You see gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour out along the Great Lakes. Starting to get just a little bit breezy in Albany and down into Newburgh with gusts up to 24 miles per hour. Futurecast shows that these are going to pick up in a hurry. By the time we start talking about 4, 5, 6 in the evening, notice in the valleys we're seeing gusts into the 30s. In the hills and mountains, seeing gusts well into the 40s, and some spots topping out around 50 miles per hour. Now, by 10 p.m., we'll start to see things ease up a little bit along the Hudson, but the hills and mountains, you'll still see those 30 to 45-mile-an-hour gusts well into the overnight, a couple hours after midnight. As a result, we've got a wind advisory in effect for the entire News 10 viewing area. Everyone's shaded in the tan. It's in effect now until 2 a.m. on Thursday. You'll see steady winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour at times, as we showed you with Futurecast, gusting up to 50. What does that mean? Well, unsecured objects, if you've got the early Halloween decorations out, bring them in. You don't want them to wind up in the neighbor's lawn. Power lines could be a bit of an issue. An isolated tree could come down here
here or there with leaves still on the branches, so watch for that. Isolated power outages, and be especially careful if you're going to be driving in a high-profile vehicle. So something like a box truck, it's taller, it picks up the wind a little bit more, easier to get blown around, so use extreme caution, especially if you're driving east of our area. The rest of Massachusetts is under a high wind warning. That's in effect as well until 2 a.m. They could see gusts up to 60, perhaps 65 miles per hour. At least the temperatures are cooperating with us. If you're Albany or southeast, well into the 60s. If you're seeing the rain begin to fall, chances are you're in the 50s. High temperature right about where we are now, 64. We don't get any warmer with the rain pushing on in. Gusty winds the biggest concern. As we go into overnight, the showers will end, as we showed you on Futurecast, down to 44 as we pull in some cooler air from the north and west. Still windy, still breezy to blustery tomorrow with winds 10 to 20 miles per hour at times. Not quite what we see today, but still going to need to hold on to your hats out there on a Thursday. Beyond that, 63 on Friday. That's my pick of the week. Saturday, much warmer. Closing in on 80 degrees in some spots, maybe an evening shower. Sunday, clouds, not as warm, 63. Monday, more clouds, perhaps a shower late in the evening, and that could take us to a Tuesday that features more widespread rain, on and off showers, high of 66.